everybody. It's Terry from Adaptive Star here. Thanks for joining us today. I have with me today the one and only Johnny Agar from Team Agar, along with Jeff and Becky. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's wonderful. We're doing great, but it's awesome to talk to you, so we're doing even better.
Thank you very much. I feel very much the same way. It's so happy. It's wonderful to see your faces.
Yeah, we were just talking off camera. We haven't seen each other in a while, so.
We have not. So this is very nice. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your Saturday. This is awesome. It looks like maybe you were doing a little bit of training, Jeff.
I was out running this morning. It's pretty chilly, so I left Johnny in his warm bed. It was 30 degrees.
Man.
Yeah.
14 fun-filled miles.
Dad didn't let me go with him. I would have gone with him, but
yeah, it's for 3 hours to be out there running. It's easy to be freezing.
Dad was actually nice to me. Can you believe it? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to be putting in the work later, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get off that easily.
Oh my goodness. So, most everybody I think in the world knows you, but for those few people who do not, Johnny, can you tell us who you are, where you're at in the world, and what motivates you?
Sure. So I'm Johnny Agar. I started racing with Dad 2012, and we just started racing with my team Triumph in West Michigan here, the West Michigan chapter, and we've always loved Adaptive Star and
Thank you.
now have our own personal chair, so it's a lot of fun. And what was the second part of your question?
What motivates you?
I think just Adaptive Star gives us the opportunity to be out there with all the other athletes, and I think, with me having a physical disability and sometimes mental challenges, that really pushes me a lot when I see other people pushing themselves, what other people would say beyond boundaries, and so that really shows me, what can't I do when I'm out there. So
Awesome. So, John, how old are you now?
I'm 29, almost 30.
Oh my gosh. Is there like a major party happening for 30 years old?
We're going to Kona. That's the party.
I love it. What a birthday present that would be, right?
Yeah. No kidding. It's a big step from where we started. So we're excited to finish what we started. That was our first triathlon, or our first Ironman distance triathlon we attempted, and so we're just excited to finish what we started and just have a good time over there. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome. So since then, how many Ironmans have you guys done, Jeff?
So we've attempted a total of 6.
Okay.
Yeah, the very first one being the hardest, the Ironman World Championship.
Why not start with that one?
Well, yeah, not the smartest one to start with. I mean, it was one of those things where we were offered the opportunity to do it, and we had been telling Johnny his whole life that, hey, you got to take on challenges, you got to take on opportunities, you can't let things stand in your way. And I'd never even done a half Ironman up to that point, but incredibly, we said yes, and I had to start figuring out how to swim with things like sharks and manta rays in the water and all kinds of things. But it was just a huge opportunity for us. And then we tried it, didn't succeed at that point. That was 2016. And then we continued to try other Ironmans, and every one we've tried, just crazy things have happened. One, we were just cruising along great in Texas, and someone ran into us, knocked us over and damaged our bike and damaged me a little bit. Another time in Texas, it was over 100 degrees, just brutally hot, windy, and really a challenge. And then in Indiana, just pouring rain for 8 hours on the bike.
We need our oars.
Yeah, it was just raining unmercifully. And then we had a flat tire in another race where we didn't even realize it for 40 miles. That I just thought the wind was picking up, and turns out later on we found out looking at pictures of the race that we were riding on a flat tire for a long time, for quite a while. So
wow.
a lot of things like that, but we finally made it all come together in Ironman Maryland last year in September. And so we were able to finish that with 5 minutes to spare. So we officially made it through an Ironman, and we just went and visited a tattoo shop 2 days ago to get
Ooh.
with our Ironman tattoos on our calves. So it's been a long journey, and a lot of weird things have happened along the way, but it makes it even sweeter that we finally got through one. And I look back, the equipment has evolved with the course of time, but we're really fortunate to have one of your race chairs, the Axiom Aero, and Johnny loves it, very comfortable, and we've loved doing it.
There's something that I've said all my adult life, and something that Greg and I have told our girls. And as when you guys sent this lovely book to me, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And reading through it, and I've gone through it a couple of times now. There are several things that stick with me, and one of the things is God had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, even though you had all of those challenges and things that that kept you from, successfully finishing those first few Ironmans, it's because God had a plan. And
we tend to think so because we do now. My wife, Becky, at the time when we didn't finish in Hawaii, she said, hey, something good's going to come out of this. And of course, in my wisdom, I said, nothing good's going to come out of this. So, because I thought, but this is just humiliating. You have a million people watch you fail on national TV, and after all the work we put in and everything. And so, but had we made it through that first time, I think people probably would have said, well, how hard? It can't be that hard because, I was an athlete when I was younger, albeit a baseball player, and I didn't run at all. And I was not an endurance athlete, but it really shows, having failed so many times, just how difficult it is. And it really highlights that Johnny's whole life is very difficult. Everything he runs into is an obstacle. So it shows you just got to keep working hard, keep driving, keep training, doing all those things, and things can eventually come together. But it was a very difficult ride for a long time. But some amazing things have happened. Johnny's been in a couple of commercials for Under Armour that never would have happened had we made it the first time in Kona. That stuff just wouldn't have happened. There'd been no need for us to keep training and keep pushing. So some amazing things have happened. And then the finish in Ironman Maryland, it's been viewed way more times than the failure. So we feel good about how it actually worked out. But it was tough at the very beginning, but it's been great. And this whole thing is about Johnny anyway. So this has been good for Johnny. Highlights, continuing what his message is as a motivational speaker too, is overcoming challenges, right? So it's hard to describe overcoming more challenges than continuing to fail at an Ironman and finally making it. So it's been great for Johnny.
God has a plan, Terry, but you need the right people to be able to execute it. And Adaptive Star is crucial to that plan.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you very much. Well, I think the two people sitting next to you are crucial to that plan.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be here without them. So.
Right.
But it does opens up doors for people to do races. And I know you guys have talked about Team Hoyt a lot in the past, and how beneficial that was for what they were doing to then lead you into basically the mission you guys have to be able to get kids like Johnny to do races and have the equipment. But it's extraordinary. The doors have been opened.
Absolutely.
The time and we're very happy that when you get to the running of a marathon after swimming and biking for about 10 hours, you got to have something that is just going to roll really easily and not add a bunch of extra pressure to your running. And the units you guys produce are just fantastic.
I get to go into my lounge when we're done.
Yeah, we can roll around.
Your lounge chair.
Even if you
Do
have
you need to find some automatic massagers for your legs and feet, John?
Don't go away on that chair.
Johnny's all for that.
Yeah, he
Not
wants
so
it.
much.
But it's great for kids like Johnny.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Becky, people don't understand the behind the scenes pressure. And all that entails making sure that the travel plans are in place, the reservations are in place, all of your equipment's ready to go, you know, that everybody has everything they need. So there's that part of it. There's
The
travel
massive
day.
fundraising, because these events are not cheap.
No, they are not. They
She
are
does
not.
all that stuff. Yeah.
But then there's race day. And that's a whole other ball game. How do you handle all that pressure? How do you get through that? How do you plan that? And how do you keep yourself calm and focused when they're out there and you don't have eyes on them all the time?
That's a great question. My faith is very important to me. And so I pray a lot. I can only control so much. Everybody can only control so much in a world where we think we have a lot of control. In actuality, we don't. Right. And so I do a lot of praying and just ask God to just watch over them and keep them safe. And, no problems with equipment, no problems with their bodies, calm winds, sunny skies, not too hot, constantly over and over in my head, Right. But ultimately, I try really hard not to worry too much. It's difficult because I can't see what they're doing. And so it just really makes you feel like, it reminds you of how little you are really in this world, basically. And so that's what I do. I do a lot of praying. So
does it ever get easier?
What?
Does it ever get easier? It does. Some days are much better than others. I think too, like you were talking about the behind the scenes, my job really, I feel, is to relieve the pressure off of these guys. So if I can dot all my I's and cross all the T's for them so that they don't have to worry about anything but race day, then I've done my job. So if that is the case, then that helps a lot. Right. Yeah.
Jeff, do you want your job or Becky's job?
I want to be the guy who just sits back and watches everybody do it, no matter anybody. I don't want either of the job. It's a lot of pressure. So the planning that goes into it is monumental. But then on race day, you've witnessed it firsthand. Transition time is a huge deal, right? So when I'm coming in, they've got to do everything they can they have to practice it and time it out. They have checklists of stuff that you're going to do. So our Becky and our main two people that help us in most of these races, sometimes a third person does, but they've got it dialed in so well. They have Johnny to the next transition and where we're getting out on either onto the bike or the run way before I can even get there. So
I was really Terrence said a time or two that they were waiting on Jeff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like
we're always waiting on that. I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah. So Johnny's aunt and uncle that are related on Becky's side. Uncle Chris and Aunt Janet and
Terrence too.
Yeah, they'll get stuff done so quickly, and then they're so well organized with everything. Janet is a planner, and she's a checklist for everything, which is great. You got to have it, right? You do that well, then Johnny's sitting there waiting for me to go, so I don't have to think about anything. I look back to when Dick Hoyt was trying to do it, and they were figuring everything out as they went.
Yeah.
And so it's we're so far advanced with equipment and technology and planning and everything. So it's extraordinary what that guy did in the situation he was in. It's just,
my goodness.
Yeah, there'll never be another person like that doing what
No, never.
We're all the beneficiaries of it, but people like Becky and our team just do an amazing job of transitioning Johnny and getting him ready for the next phase of the race.
It is so intense in transition.
Mm-hmm.
We got Team Liza out on the swim, and it's, making sure everything else is in place. We've got things set out, and then people where the PC tent was, where we were with our equipment, because of course, how long we are and how much stuff we've got and all of that.
Yeah.
There was like another little gateway, and people were kind of using it to go back and forth. And finally I'm like, because they were moving our stuff, and I'm like, don't touch my wheels.
Yeah.
Because and other people want to help sometimes, right? But
Yeah.
That's like, okay, take a deep breath. They don't know. Just,
Yeah.
But it's a lot of chaos. You're right. It's chaos in there. And so having people that are calm, because I'm not at the time, having people that are calm and in control helps a lot. So all I have to worry about is myself. I don't have to think about Johnny or anything with equipment. And so it's really been a great team for us.
And having a crew that knows how to handle the equipment, because sometimes if you have the wrong people handle it, then it can get a little dicey sometimes.
Yeah.
absolutely. I completely understand. Yeah. You have some inexperience and it, yeah. And you guys have done this enough now. And the training, I think, is huge too.
Yeah.
But it shows what you can do, right? I mean, you've seen it firsthand. But when you have a good team and they're well-oiled machines, it works out great for everybody.
So, Johnny, what does a training day look like for you? I mean, we know what Dad's doing for training for the most part, but a lot of people don't know that you're training also. What does your training look like?
So I try and walk because I walk the last mile of the race in my walker.
Yep.
That's usually how we run the show. So I will usually train about 2 to 3 days a week walking, and then the rest of the days I will do something in my chamber of games, I call it, down in my gym that I use. I will wall bar down there. That's being repaired now. So, but I will wall bar down there and a yoga mat that I can do some stretching on.
And every day in the morning.
Every day I'll do something.
He'll do his morning routine and stretching and things. Stretching is really important for him. It just as much as the walking is, if not more important. He's got to keep his muscles limber and flexible in order to do the walking and do all the other things he does. So,
and are you doing PT with him every day? You're stretching, or are you doing that on your own, John?
Stretching, yeah. I'm trying to get it so that he's more independent. So we've got a program now that he does in the morning completely by himself, and stretching. And then I try to get stretching in with him during the day. He does his wall bars. Sometimes I have to be with him when he does the wall bar routine, but most often I'm trying to have him do it on his own so he can be
alone. You're living independently for the most part now, right?
I am, yes, ma'am. I have my downstairs apartment that this is coming on 2 years now that I've had that. Got it as a nice surprise Christmas gift for me a couple years ago. And they got all adaptive to independent living down there. So I can I can just go in my home and
man cave.
My man cave and slave away down there. So
yeah, it's voice activated, like for the sink, and it's a special kind of microwave oven where he can push it from the side or the top to get it out versus having a door swing out. So yeah, the company did an amazing job at making it very adaptive.
Well, I remember when you guys were starting that endeavor, or maybe it wasn't the start because there had kind of been a little bit of a debacle beforehand when you would try to do it. And then when everybody pulled together and worked on this and got it done, how incredible that was.
Oh, it was unbelievable. The best Christmas gift I will ever receive, because you can't put a bow on it, independence. So it's my best, other than my chair, it's my best gift that I've ever it's my best gift that I've ever received. So.
Awesome. So how has that changed the family life for everybody with John living independently now?
Well, he's downstairs. So it's a nice transition for him. So it's in our downstairs. So he's got the whole downstairs. And it was designed that way just so that we can kind of teach him now how to become more independent. That way, if he needs help, we're there to be able to help him. But really, when he comes in from out wherever we were, he'll say, I'm going downstairs to my apartment. And I think that's a huge thing for him to be able to just have that independence in his mind too. But yeah, it's it's a great thing for him to be able to just kind of do things on his own. And that's his goal, is to be as independent as possible. So,
yeah. What role has the Conducted Learning Center played in that for you, John?
They really taught me. Conducted Learning Center is a center here in Grand Rapids, Michigan that teaches kids and adults with different motor disabilities, specifically cerebral palsy and spina bifida, how to sit and stand and walk and do a lot of things that some people sometimes will take for granted. And they really taught me a lot about goal setting and setting goals for myself, giving me a more positive outlook on my challenges with cerebral palsy and really focused on what I could do, not what I couldn't do. So it's really been beneficial for me. It's like a school, so I'm around a lot of people that are like me, so we can bounce ideas off each other a lot, and really helps us all to accomplish our goals together, which is awesome. And cheer each other on, and our parents do the same with each other too as parents. So it's a really nice thing for all of us. So
awesome. So what is training working at Tacona look like for you now, Jeff?
Well, pretty much, yeah, we're doing something every day. Sometimes there's 2 different things you're doing in a given day, but we've got some coaches we're working out from Evolve Training Systems. Right, I always get the name wrong. It's Evolve is the name of the Evolve is the name of the coaching stuff. But it's a group of coaches, some across the world that have a tremendous amount of expertise, and because as you've seen firsthand, hauling another person around an Ironman course is totally different than what anybody else deals with. So a typical male athlete might be 180 to 200 pounds at the most, and they got a bike, so they're looking at 200, 220 pounds trying to get around. And, even on the hills of Kona, where it's really steep, they're still going 14 or 15 miles an hour. Right. And I go about 3 to 4 miles an hour on a steep hill. So it's just it's a tremendous amount of weight. We have almost 400 pounds that we're hauling around. It's so different, and the amount of strength training you have to have in your legs is so different than what an average triathlete would do. So that's part of the challenge, and most people just don't understand how difficult it is. When you can feel a hill before you even see it, right? You start feeling the incline, and so it's a challenge, but we've been working pretty hard. There's it's building up pretty heavy now. We're actually going to do something called the Dopey Challenge in Walt Disney World.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, how fun!
As dopey as it sounds, you do in 4 days.
Oh, I know a few families that have done that. The schedule's a little crazy.
Yeah. Then the 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon in 4 days.
Yeah.
So the first 3 sound okay. The marathon at the end sounded good a year ago, but we hadn't been invited to Hawaii, Tacona yet. At that point, we thought, well, let's do this race because it'll be kind of cool, what a fun one to do. So now we're training and doing a lot of running now. I've been building up my running while we're trying to do the biking and swimming training as well. But we've got 12 months to go before Kona, and a little bit less than 12. And so there's just every single day you got to be doing something,
which is really different for us. So having that much time to be able to plan is really
right. My chair makes me the happiest person in the world, and then I'm going to be in the happiest place in the world.
I love it. Oh my God. So when is the Dopey Challenge?
That's 4th through 7th.
Yeah, January 4th.
Yeah, 4th through 7th.
Oh wow. Okay. So
we'll be posting. You'll see a lot of pictures of Johnny.
Yeah.
Awesome. You'll get to warm up a little bit because it's pretty cold at home now, right?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cold there.
Is it cold there?
Well, 40-ish today.
Okay.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just came back from vacation, and it was mid 80s, which was really nice. And I'm like, what was I thinking? Why are we back?
Then you realize the bills came in. You're like, oh, I know why I'm back here.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it'll hopefully be warmer than Michigan for sure. It's going to
Oh
be
yeah.
But,
oh my goodness.
Mhm.
So, Johnny, do you still think about your rocking chair experience when you are facing a big challenge that's a little scary and daunting?
Yeah. So there's a part in the. Can I just refresh? There's a part in the book where I talk about mom put me in this rocking chair and I felt unbalanced in it, and I was screaming bloody murder. But mom never gave in to me and never took me out of the wheel rocking chair. And I think it really taught me that, my life is not going to be easy. And I really needed to learn that at a very, very young age to ingrain it in me, because the more you do it, the more it becomes, you become accustomed to it. So even though I didn't like it when I was really young and felt unstable, and it really was a foreshadowing to what I needed to do if I was going to be successful. So, and mom kind of worked that in to me slowly but surely in different ways, and she really has a good grasp of how to do that. So
I was very, very touched by that part of the book. It made just a huge impact on me, honestly, for both of you guys, Johnny and Becky. As mom, I mean, our instinct is just to put them in a bubble and to, keep them safe at all costs. And your no limit philosophy and that God has a plan, I think probably played a big part in that. But I can only imagine how hard it was for you, Becky, to see that he was scared and uncomfortable, but to try to push him and guide him through that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's still?
It was very difficult. My dad was in the room at the time, and my dad had to leave. Annie left. She was a little tiny thing at the time because he was crying so hard. And I thought, I can't. In the back of my head, there's a part in the book that I didn't tell, but there was a therapist that had told me, I don't know, probably a couple weeks before that, for Johnny to balance or to do anything, it's like him being on a bouncy ball. And for him to be able to eat, you're trying to constantly counter it. So you've got to really strap him in and keep him tight. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to do that. He's got to learn how to adapt. And so that's why when I put him in that rocking chair, I thought, well, I've got to teach him how to adapt to different situations. That's going to be part of his life. We can't strap him in and expect him to just, sit there and be able to eat. He's got to learn how to do different situations. And so, so I think that in the back of my head was, maybe I was trying to prove that therapist wrong in a way, but I was also trying to show Johnny, that he can do so much more than he thinks he can do. And at that point in time, just for me, I thought it was so important. He was at this age where he was, starting to become a little bit more independent mentally. And I just felt like he really needed that boost of confidence. Yeah. And I was not going to have him win that day. So it was a struggle, but, and that's pretty much basically how we both kind of, raised him. We didn't want to make it easy for him because life is not easy. Life's not easy, but if you have a good base of faith and you have confidence in yourself and your abilities, then you can go pretty far.
Absolutely. So. And I mean, I shouldn't say but from your rocking chair experience to where you're at today, and having that mentality shows everybody that if you work hard enough, and you have that faith and you have that support system and that drive, you literally can do anything.
Yeah.
With the right tools, like you guys provide, with the right tools.
Thank you. Thank you.
surrounding you.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you can do a lot more than you ever thought you could.
But I think without being pushed, I don't think he would have ever thought about that he wanted to actually walk a mile in a race, you know, because unless over the course of time, as you're growing up, and Becky spent so much more time with him than I did, she was able to embed in him that you've got to work hard to be able to do things in life, and you got to take challenges. And that really paid off when he decided he wanted to try to walk.
I will say one of my favorite memories of Team Agar when you guys went to Germany for the Roth Challenge.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I'm on an errand and I get a phone call from Terrence. And I can see him coming through on my car and I'm thinking, oh crap. If he's calling me, this probably isn't good. What's going on? And you forgot your front wheel, Jeff.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't me, but I know who did it. It wasn't anybody sitting here. I had everything bundled in the middle of the garage. I like, everything's got to go. And someone just said, "Well, let me set this over here so I can pick up something else." And all of a sudden, we get to Germany. We're like, "Where's that wheel?" And so it was not there.
You should have seen me going through the little German town, trying to find a little kid's bicycle.
Yeah. So we ended up buying 4 different wheels in Germany.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Terrence called me and I'm like, I can't even overnight you one. It's not going to get there in time.
Oh yeah. Right.
So I've got Terrence on hold and I'm calling Greg at the office. I'm like, we need these specs. Terrence needs it now. Text it to me so I can text it to him. And you know,
that was crazy.
But you know,
caught it now, but it was not funny at the time.
Yes, it was not laughable then. Oh, I know. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, what? Jeff's gonna run with popping a wheelie. That's just
exactly the whole way.
We didn't think about that. It couldn't even do it that way.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
But that was an incredible finish line at that place. You had a stadium of about 8,000 people. They had fireworks going off. Everybody, they had champagne late at night.
At the finish line, yeah.
It was just crazy environment. And Johnny walked, and it's not that common to see it. Nobody ever walks in a race there in a walker. So it was really cool, and the crowd, people just couldn't believe it. They just were so enthralled with the whole thing. It was really, really amazing.
One of my favorite memories of that trip was that as I was walking, a little girl talked to her mom and said, I didn't know people in wheelchairs could walk. And so that's what really made the trip for me, was if I could change that one person's chain of thought, to, you can do anything you put your mind to, then that's worth it. So, yeah.
Hopefully it creates a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Oh, I think for every event that you guys do and other duo teams do, whether it's a 5K, a triathlon, the Boston Marathon, whatever event it is, the impact you have on at least one person is incredible. I get emails, we get phone calls after any major event that you guys do, or Team Liza does, or Team Hoyt, or Ainsley's Angels, or my Team Triumph, and the world sees them, and they're learning more about what is possible, what they can do. Sometimes you just don't know until you see it.
Right. Yeah.
Continuing to be out there and showing everybody, and not only that, yes, a duo team can do this, and you can assist Johnny through the swim, bike, run, but Johnny, that you are up at the end and you are training and you are participating, and for them to see you cross that finish line, there's just not words, honestly.
Though, I mean, we have to say, I'm sure you have an idea of what your company has done for all of those individuals, but it's pretty amazing that your concept and your chair has been able to open the world to so many kids like Johnny, who may have been in their wheelchair their entire life and never been able to experience being outside, the thrill of racing, and any of that. So we really have a deep gratitude for what you do and what you've done for a lot of kids around the world, really.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We really do appreciate that. It's honestly, sometimes our heads are down and you understand this. You get caught up in life and your head is down and you're running hard and you've got this huge production schedule and you know, just kind of the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
Then when I get to look up and I get to do a podcast with, you know, with a duo team or whomever,
Right.
I get to attend events like Ironman Kona or other, you know, Tri Del Sol and have those personal connections and get to see the impact that it makes in person. It's amazing. It really is.
That's pretty
Yeah.
special. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So
It's hard for you to comprehend the scope of what you've done today, because it'd be hard for me. I mean, you know, you've changed so many thousands of lives, really. So,
thank you. You know, I think like you guys, we get up every day asking what good can we do in the world?
yeah.
And who can we help? We have a very deep faith.
Yeah.
So it's really important to us that, you know, if not us, who?
Yeah.
So it's important to us that we have this ability. We've been blessed with this ability, and that we continue the mission and share what, you know, what we're able to do with others, so that they're able to do something they might not have been able to before.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah.
so is there? I have to ask: is there another book in the future?
Well, we're thinking of doing children's books.
That would be awesome.
There's a publisher that's interested in us writing some children's books, so we're
Okay.
looking at that. I'd also, there's some another couple of ideas we have kind of down the chute that
Okay.
we're excited about. So
That's fabulous. So as you move through the future, we've got the holidays.
Mhm.
So we're limiting what Johnny's eating, right?
I think he'll start his diet on January 1.
I got one last meal, Terry. One last meal.
The Dopey Run.
Yeah.
You're doing some speaking engagements, Johnny, right?
Yeah. Yep. I got one coming up November 30th in Nashville, Tennessee. Or not Knoxville, sorry.
Yeah. He's
And
been
then,
one a month in different parts around the country. So
Yeah.
he's been to Texas a couple times, at Florida, and now going to Tennessee twice. So yeah, the speaking is really, really taking off with him.
And that's Johnny, that's always you and Mom.
That's all three of us. All three of us have a part in the show. So.
Awesome.
But
Okay. Very good.
if you want to find out more about where we're going and how we're doing and everything, then the nitty gritty, the scoop, you can go to teamagar.com. So
Perfect.
no
That's
scoop.
exactly what I was going to ask, is if people want to find you, if they want to follow you, if they want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, all my social handles are Instagram is @official Johnny_Agar.
Okay.
Twitter is @Agar_John, and Facebook is just, if you search Johnny Agar, you can find me, and I'd love to connect with the community there. So
Awesome. Are there any special people, organizations that you guys would like to give a special shout out to?
well, one of the people that's always backed us and continue to back us is Zip and SRAM. And Rudy Project has been great as well. So
in the community of endurance athletes. And we have, I don't know if you've heard of the local, it's not local, it's national, but the Meyer grocery store chain.
Yes.
Just phenomenal. They're growing like crazy, and they're huge in the Midwest, the biggest grocery store chain in the Midwest. But they've been huge supporters of ours over the course of time. The most amazing thing is Meyer was one of the major sponsors that started up and funded the Conductive Learning Center. And Johnny got to meet one of the original owners, Fred Meyer, before he passed several years ago. And so they dumped a ton of money into the Conductive Learning Center for all these kids with muscle disorders that can push themselves as hard as possible and actually learn to walk. And then they were sponsoring us when we were going to Kona and other races in the past. So it's amazing how they funded Johnny learning how to walk, and then they're funding us participating in races. It was really amazing. You think about how far things have come, because we never would have dreamed of Johnny walking at all. And
it's a nice way to, nice circle moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Becky and Jeff, for parents who find themselves at the point in their birth journey where you guys were at with Johnny, what's a good support tidbit you can give them?
Well, I would say just don't ever give up. Don't ever give up on yourselves, and don't ever give up on your kids. You know, again, our faith played a huge role in raising Johnny, and we always believed that this was happening for a reason. We just knew God's plan, but we didn't know what God's plan was, but we knew he had a plan for us. And so that was really important for us. We always just treated him like he was just our typical son, rather than placing any limits on him. That was really important to us. We wanted him to be able to decide what his limits were going to be. We didn't want others to decide what his limits were going to be. And so we felt that if we raised him, you know, as a typical little boy, he would begin to understand what he could or could not do. And so that, you know, that was important. It's really important to work as a team if you can. It's really, really difficult when you have a special needs child in a family. Sometimes the husband and the wife, they see differently, the mom and the dad, just like with any child. But I think there's just so many more major decisions you have to make when you have a special needs child. And it's taxing for the family. So if you can work as a team together and work for the benefit of the child rather than for the benefit of being right or whatever the case may be, it works in the family's favor.
Yeah, it was a huge challenge, because when we first found out about Johnny, then things totally changed so fast. But we get some great advice from the very first doctor we really dealt with about Johnny's cerebral palsy, and Becky writes about it very eloquently in our book. And there's a book trailer that kind of shows how it actually almost, basically verbatim how it happened. But this doctor was really big, and he said, I don't like telling this to most parents, but I'm getting some sense out of you two that I'm going to give you this advice. He said, you could read all about, this is pre-internet, but you can read a lot of books about what your child won't be able to do, or you can focus on what he can do and just take it day by day. And it's not being in denial. And we've had several therapists early on that would say we're in denial about it. We think, well, we're not in denial because we live with it every day. We see that, what limitations are, but we don't want to put limitations on him. It's like getting a wheelchair. They want him to get a power chair right away. And we're like, if he's got to learn how to overcome certain challenges, right? So it wasn't to the point of being mean, but it'd be like Michael Phelps' mother saying, oh, Michael, you're sore, so don't swim today. She supported him, the coaches supported him, and so did great in life and did great in the sport. And the same thing with Johnny, where you got to push yourself if you're going to be better. And why Michael Phelps is the greatest Olympian of all time, and he and Johnny are friends on social media. Well, Johnny has pushed himself to the extreme of what you ever would have expected. We were told probably wouldn't walk, probably wouldn't talk. And so the amazing transformation it's made, but it doesn't happen just because we wanted it to. Like
Right.
Productive Learning Center, it is flat out hard work. You're working for weeks and weeks at a time, 5 to 6 hours a day, just incredibly strenuous effort. And so, but that only comes through, being pushed and having people have high expectations for you. I think Becky really ingrained in Johnny, and you see the results now. But had we taken it easy on him and just did everything for him, I just don't think he'd had the drive to want to be as independent and do as many things as he's done in life.
Thank you guys so much for sharing that. I mean, I know I come into contact with families that they're in a tough transition time, and there's certain things that I can share with them and talk with them about that I've experienced through other families that we've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
But to hear from families that, this is your daily life.
Yeah.
And this is how you've been able to there's been, hard times. There's always hard times, but how you've been able to make the best of those hard times and overcome those situations, I know is helpful for families to hear.
Right.
I know we could go on and talk some more, so we're going to have to plan another time to get together.
Sounds good.
Sounds great, Tim.
Well, you can meet us in Hawaii. We can do it live. So
We would love that.
Come on.
we're going to be there. So
Gonna be a big group
yeah,
coming.
well,
so
we
we'd
have
love to have you.
there's a lot of people coming from our area.
Awesome. We can talk about that.
Okay.
We would love to come and love to help. I know you guys have a well-oiled machine, but if there's, we're all in.
Oh,
More people hanging out, keeping Becky's nerves under control would be great. So just,
Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate your time. We look forward to following all the adventures of Team Agar in 2024. We wish you a very happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. And thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Terry.
Thanks, Dave.
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving to everybody too out there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take care, you guys.
All right.